So the PlayStation 5 has just been released and I've got my pre-order ticket right here. So it's weird, like you can prepay the whole PS5 and then you can go down and get like a fast pass. So you can beat the other people who even deposited money but haven't fixed up the remaining balance. But what we're gonna do is go pick this thing up right now, check it out, and then we're gonna compare it against PC. Because that's the first thing that came to my mind.
There is a very unstable situation on the ground that is unfolding very quickly.
And here is the PS5 in all its glory. I actually read up somewhere in Australia, these things are sold out till like March or April next year. So the limited supply is something that's pretty worrisome on all the new stuff coming out in late 2020. But what we got here is a few extra accessories. You can pick them up if you want to get a bit of a better experience. I'm gonna be playing a bit of Spider-Man in my free time. But what we're gonna do now is try and boot this thing up, see what comes in the box, and then loading up Fortnite, and then comparing that against PC, the RTX 3080 on a 360 Hertz monitor. So let's see what FPS we can pull off. So we're just gonna do a little interview here with baby Maggie. Yeah, what do you think of the PlayStation 5? Okay, I'll just translate that into English for you guys. Okay, baby Maggie's saying that the PlayStation 5 is good, but it might not be as good as the PC. But it does, yeah, okay, so it does represent better value for money? Oh, but that's only on the actual unit itself. So we just finished unboxing this thing and it's very quick, very easy to set up. You've got the included stand which you can mount horizontally or vertically, which we've mounted vertically here. You just take the screw out of the base, plug it in, screw it up, and you're good to go. Now the controller itself, I gotta say, they've like, first impressions, this thing feels amazing, matte finish, and everything feels like really good on the buttons and the way you press them. Then you've got the USB cable for that controller. Then you've got the power cable, which the power supply on the PlayStation 5, it says that it is a 350 watt power supply. Then you get a HDMI 2.1 cable, which honestly is very impressive considering the value you're already getting out of the consoles. To include something like this, at least in Australia, these cables alone cost about $80 where I am. So the value is looking certainly amazing. The build quality so far is really good. Let's fire this thing up and away we go. So after testing the PS5 on Fortnite on both a 1080p high refresh rate monitor and also now a 120 Hz OLED 4K, it's a little bit of a thing where I think PlayStation will have to, or Sony will have to implement updates and perhaps work with the monitor manufacturers even possibly there to implement firmware updates in the case of the 4K OLED, where it supports the 120 Hz. Because at the moment, it's only working on 60 Hz at both 1080p and at the 4K OLED. And both these monitors support higher refresh rates, where the Asus monitor will support 360 Hz, and also the 4K CX55 inch from LG will support 120 Hz. Now I tried messing around with a heap of different settings, changing all the different settings I could think of on both monitors and both in the PlayStation menu system, and it just would not unlock the 120 FPS at all. And so it does say on the box printed 120 4K, so hopefully they'll unlock that soon, because I wanted to see what it would look like with 4K on Fortnite. And it looks like in terms of the settings in the game menu itself, you can't actually unlock any settings like you can on PC. And there's also some good news, however, and that is if you are a mouse and keyboard player, you can use the mouse and keyboard perfectly fine with the PlayStation 5. You can change the input sensitivity on X and Y, meaning you can have it move left and right faster than up and down if you wish to. And playing it, it does seem to have, instead of going with a VSync option, it seems to be like it's an adaptive FPS option where it'll lock the FPS to the frame rate of the monitor you're using. In this case, I could only get 60 on both 1080p and 4K, and 1080p was definitely playing at epic settings on this game. However, 4K was looking like it was upsampling from a lower resolution at some points in the game. So it didn't look as good as the 4K experience on PC. So I'm just hoping that in a few updates, they might unlock some settings on the PlayStation and get those refresh rates working. Because at this point in time, that PC aspect of having a lot more control with FPS and settings is definitely more appealing to me. I mean, I'm not just saying that because I'm a PC tech focused channel. I really like the value that these consoles are giving in terms of hardware, but I feel like if you're getting this thing and you want to say play Fortnite competitively, then you can definitely do that if they unlock those FPS options. So I would like to see them do that, since the PS5 controller does feel really good. And we all know the hardware can definitely power higher than 1080p 60 FPS epic settings for Fortnite. Another thing is too with this console is that the noise of the console itself, when I was even playing 4K 60 with this game right here, was that the unit itself, the PlayStation 5, was just quiet the whole time. I didn't notice any noise ramping up from it. So they've got a pretty good design from what I can tell so far. But just like the RTX 3080 launch on PC, I feel like there's some teething issues right now. For instance, when I first booted up the system, there was an update available straight away. So I expect that there will be a heap more updates coming in the first month of playing this thing right here. But in terms of overall, my first impressions of PlayStation 5, it's a little bit mixed because I was hoping to unlock at least 120 FPS. And I feel like if you're launching a console like this with this amount of hype and this amount of anticipation, I feel like having those higher frame rates there was a key point of playing on these new consoles, especially versus the previous generation. And it seems like if you're a pro Fortnite player at the moment, or you're, say, a console player PS4, and you want to get better experience, you're like, okay, I'm pretty good at this game, I want to get more FPS out of it. And that's what I mean. Look, I sell PCs personally here, and a lot of people buying PCs want to get off PlayStation 4 and play Fortnite on PC because they can unlock the higher FPS and get a smoother experience. And 60 FPS is okay, but I think you're going to want more if you want to play this game competitively, especially now. There's also the option to go anonymous, so if people know who you are, then you can get away with them not knowing who you are if you use this option, and you maybe block out your map if you're streaming. That's one cool option I saw that didn't really exist on PC, I think. Anyway, there it is with the PlayStation 5. Unfortunately, I couldn't get a direct comparison to the PC, as I said before, because there's no settings to unlock in the menu. There's no epic slider or resolution scaling settings, so I just don't know exactly what this thing is spitting out. But the 4K image did look like, definitely at a lot of the times, it did look like it was upsampled and not true 4K. And so that's in order for Sony to get that 4K 60 FPS experience, which, look, PC is already beating that. I've done a lot of testing here. The RTX 3080, for example, and even the 3070 can do true native 4K 60, and I'm sure the upcoming 6800 XT will be able to do 4K 60 true resolution. So the new console, it is what it is. At 750 Aussie dollars, it's certainly phenomenal value. But those teething issues, I would like to see them fixed personally, because I am looking forward to Gran Turismo 7 on the PS5, and I'd like to be playing that in 120 Hz 4K. I think that's the goal with this unit right here. Anyway, in terms of the Xbox Series X, I do have one of them coming. I tried to pre-order that as soon as I can, but I did miss out on the first batch. So I will be doing an Xbox Series X video like this for you guys, so stay tuned for that.
and we'll see how that performs. But that's coming on roughly November 20 for me. I did get the email that I'll be getting it, I guess, earlier than 2021, because apparently these units right here, at least in Australia, are sold out until April next year. And some people are even saying they could be possibly sold out till Christmas 2021. That's how in demand these things are. And so if that's the case, I guess it's just, I don't know, man. Tech this year in 2020 is just one crazy roller coaster in terms of just the demand, the sheer demand for these gaming parts. Like even on PC, it's happening too. You've even got like Zen 3 processors, RTX 3080s, and I'm guessing AMD's upcoming graphics cards, they'll be just sold out too. Anyway, with that aside, if you guys have stayed this far and you're enjoying that content and want to see it the moment it drops, be sure to hit that sub button, ring that bell, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out for now. Bye.